Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jessica Skylar Baldwin, and my research project has three main focal points. The first main point is looking at heat units to see if we can determine nut growth sizes across the growing season at the end. That way farmers and producers can better get a handle on what they are actually going to end up with at the end of the year. So this is a chart of the heat units across one of our farms. This is Idabel, which is down in the very southeast corner of Oklahoma. And it started on March 21st, and this line right here is actually the last day that we collected. So what we started off this week, we started on the second phase of our project. We were actually very excited to find that, as you can see in the middle picture here, that we actually have started seeing embryos in our pecans, which is a very important thing for farmers because they actually have to spray a chemical when the pecan just gets out of the water phase, and we're starting to see it move out of the water phase. We're seeing the embryos, which is great. This research is very new. Not a lot of people have actually sat there and cut open pecans every week to see, okay, this is when it starts this phase, this is when it ends this phase, and it's very exciting to be on the front lines of that. The other thing that we did this week is, as you can see in these top two pictures, we started stripping the bark for nitrogen and carbohydrate contents. And the reason we're doing that is in the state of Oklahoma in the past couple years, we've seen a significant drop in the amounts of pecans that have been produced on these trees, and we're trying to figure out what is happening. Is it because of the nitrogen in the leaves? Is it because of the carbohydrates in the bark? And what we're going to be doing with that is you take a section of the leaf. So an interesting fact about pecans is they're a compound leaf. So everything that you see, there's little leaflets, but all of it is one singular leaf. And so what we're doing with that is we're cutting it down to 6 inches, and from there we're stripping the bark and we're cutting the actual wood into different pieces. We're sectioning it into 4 different sections. Some of it will be, half of it will be frozen and the other half will be dried. The dried will be what we use for carbohydrate analysis, and the frozen we will later look at for nutrients that we haven't really decided what we're going to do with that yet. So it's super fun to collect these. As you can see in that picture over there, I am up in a cherry picker that is on the bed of the truck. It's a little higher than I like to be. And the bottom picture, we're really excited again, is because our pecans are actually getting big. When we first started this project, we were measuring maybe between 5 and 7 millimeters, and now we're getting 23, and the width of our pecans are about the length of what we started with. So we're really excited to see what we get in the coming weeks. I work with Dr. Lu Zhang and Ms. Becky Cherry, who is the technician for turfgrass and pecan research. Are there any questions?
You have to go to Idabel all the time?
So we've been twice so far. That's a really long trip. It's actually about a 15-hour round trip when we go to we also go to a place called McMillan. We go about every 2 weeks, or we try to. We actually had a big issue when we first started this because it had rained so much, everything was flooded. And so we actually had to get in a boat and go out to the orchard and then get into a Ranger, and then it got stuck. So our pecan orchards, some of them are still underwater, and we're excited to see if that tells anything this year as far as nitrogen and carbohydrate use. Any other questions?
How long has this been going on?
So I jumped in on this project at the end of May, and this is actually going to be a 3-year long project because the thing with pecans is something can happen this year and it's not going to pop up or show any stressors until years in the future. And so it's going to be interesting to get feedback to see if all this rain and flooding is going to have any damage towards the trees. Go ahead.
Are you guys keep doing this for those 3 years?
Unfortunately not, because actually I attend Mississippi State University, and I will not be in Oklahoma, but Dr. Zhang and Ms. Becky have promised me that I'm going to get to see the results from the coming years and kind of keep me updated. That way, if I ever want to go present the information that is being newly found, I have all the access to that, and I'm allowed to do with the data what I would like.
How much longer are you going to be doing it?
I actually leave July 27th, so I'm not here for too much longer, but it's interesting to see how much everything has changed in such a little bit of time, so I can't wait to see what I end up with at the end of the program.
Do you guys fertilize
So I'm not sure about the other orchards, but we have Oklahoma State has one in Perkins, and we do spray a little bit of fertilizer, but mostly what we do is we spray zinc on the leaves, and that's an application that happens about every 2 weeks because zinc is a immobile product, and so if you spray it on the leaf, it's just going to stay exactly where you sprayed it. So every time the leaf grows out, you have to spray again, otherwise it's not going to get the nutrients and it's going to be deficient in zinc. So that's about all we do as far as that, but I can't say anything for the other orchards. We haven't really gone that in depth with them.
What does the zinc do?
That's a good question. So, as I said, I'm from Mississippi. We don't do it like that. We just drive nails into it because we're old-fashioned, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but I can ask, and if you would like, I can get your email, and I can email that to you if you really want to know. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.